My name is Mary Jo Grubbs, and I'd like to tell you the story of my dad, Joe Smith, and one of the neon signs he designed, the Campus Drive-In Theater. He was born in 1913 in the small town of Pewaukee, Wisconsin. When he was just 5 years old, his mom died, and when he was 7, he contracted childhood polio and had to spend a year in the hospital far away. He passed the time drawing every day, the window curtains, the folds of the bedspread, whatever he could see. He had very good memories of his childhood growing up in Pewaukee, and when he graduated, he went to the Milwaukee Institute of Art, where he specialized in watercolors, but soon turned to commercial art to make a living. When he married my mom, Ruby Rasmussen, they set out on some road trips, first through the southern states into Florida, and then to California. And Dad would paint small signs for the local tourist cabins or diners to earn their room and board on the way. When they arrived in California, they just fell in love with the San Diego area, especially our local mountains. By 1940, they had settled here, and Dad got a job building B-24 bombers at Consolidated Aircraft on Pacific Highway. He spent World War II working there as a lead man, and he taught jig and fixture design and was a union shop steward. After the war, he became a sign designer at Perry Christensen Campbell, one of the first neon sign companies in town. During the post-war boom, a businessman named Sam Russo, who was building a drive-in theater on El Cajon Boulevard in the San Diego State College area, he put out for bids for a sign for the back of the screen of the drive-in. So Dad went over to the campus and looked through some yearbooks and studied the campus buildings, and he settled on a design that included a majorette with an Aztec Indian headdress and Hardy Tower and the Bell Tower and a football goalpost in the background. And then he added the outline of the San Diego mountains, including the S Mountain, now known as Coles Mountain. Every fall at homecoming, the students would climb that mountain and re-whiten the S, the symbol of their school. Well, Dad always told his daughters that the S was also for our name, Smith, as that was the view out our living room window from our house on Saranac Street. He used my mom and her sister as his live models, standing in the living room with hand on hip and using a yardstick for a baton. His first draft was done with black charcoal on white paper, and the final design was done on black show card using fluorescent paint and airbrush to simulate the glowing neon. This was a piece that was shown to Mr. Russo, who said, "That's it, that's just what I want, don't change a single scratch." Now at that time, Dad was earning just $2 an hour at working at the drawing board, but when this contract was signed, his boss took him downtown and bought him a new suit of clothes, as he was so thrilled to get the account. Majorette herself was 42 feet tall and her boot 6 feet high. Assembling the sign began with building a scaffolding on the back of the drive-in theater wall. The workmen climbed the scaffolding, taped up the paper patterns, and workmen would tap the perforations in the patterns with small bags of black carbon powder, transferring the design to the cement wall. Then other artisans painted the mural, and others fastened the neon tubing, about 1,900 feet of neon tubes crafted by a great glassblower named Melvin Zeitvogel. The theater opened in 1945 and became quite an attraction and a local landmark. It was especially impressive when driving in from the east, especially at night, as the Highway 80, the main route into town at that time, turned into El Cajon Boulevard and was the way you got to the rest of San Diego. For the next 36 years, locals came to love the drive-in, and photographs of it appeared in newspapers and magazines, including Time and Life. In Covent Garden, England, there's a small model of the sign that hangs near a stage, and in Zhangzhou, China, on a street crowded with dazzling art, the majorette with her headdress advertises a Chinese business. But times change, and by 1992, the plans were being made to demolish the theater as business had dwindled. But public sentiment for the sign was great, so the Russo family decided to donate the neon for the majorette herself to a heritage organization that would preserve it. And some years later, the old girl was put up at College Grove Shopping Center on Highway 94, where she still twirls her baton to this day.